PhD student. She was not able to come. So we will touch basically two topics. One topic is related with the trajectories of erosion, of transformation of soils. The second one is more related with the soil redistribution rates. So it's really nice to know when the soil will disappear. And it's nice to calculate the rates. I do not need to really convince you that the black soils or thick, rich humus soils are quite important for us, for the food security. Yeah, they are kind of a heritage of the past land use, our history. In Europe, they are mostly associated with the loess deposits, but not only, of course. Because of criteria, classification criteria, we can really find the Czernik and the Molik diagnostics in many types of materials. So they are not only related with this classical view. So you are aware of the fact that there is a kind of a initiative called the Black Soils, and this is quite active. We already discussed with Cesare that is a bit maybe less in some years, but of course it's we know why. The black soils are really important into global change mitigation. They are so important for us, and we really should protect them. Regarding the classification issues and what's really fall into this really wide basket for the black soils. So we would have here a well-structured dark colors surface horizons, right? This is clear. We have a nice experience from the Mexico about it also, right? And high base saturation, moderate to high organic content of organic matter. These soils, however, need to fulfill some classification criteria. Because I'm not a really specialist in soil taxonomy, I will follow in this presentation mostly WRB criteria for distinguishing a Czernik and the Molik horizons. We locate our sites in the southern Poland, from the western to easternmost part of our country. So we are a bit moved to the south in relation to the study sites of Martin, that were presented some minutes before. And you can see here the really nice loess belt, European loess belt. In Poland, we have quite a lot of loess deposits and loess derivatives that they serve for formation of Czernik and Molik or soils that hold this black or dark rich organic rich horizons. You know that the loess it's a really specific material. It was related with the Fennoscandian ice sheet activity. The loess that was deposited here in the southern Poland is mostly of at least the uppermost part is mostly a late glacial maximum loess. There are some late glacial, of course, younger than the 30,000 of years. So we have something like a 24 to 14,000 mostly. I mean the really top loess materials. But of course we have a really long record from the Imean period. So we have a really thick loess, but we also should bear in mind that the loess was not only deposited as a really thick deposits. In the landscape, we have a lot of thin pedoturbated loess that really mantled different landforms and is quite widespread. So it influenced soil formation, just like here we have a loess over a granite slope, serpentinite slope deposits. But that's not the case for this story here. Our 4 sites were located here. Basically, there are not really there is no really high variability of the mean annual temperature, mean annual precipitation. So it's some variety from a 9 degrees in the west to the around 8 in the east. So the mean annual precipitation is also quite varied, more than a bit slightly more than 500 here in the east in the Volhynian uplands. It's a bit higher in the Carpathian foothills here, more than 700 millimeters. So the conditions are more or less quite similar. However, the relief it's much different, and you will see them in the next slides. So we will start with the Lower Silesia, so the western part of our country. So here we have mostly slightly undulating loess plains. There are not really strongly inclined slopes. Long, gently slopes here result in the Chernozem's presence, at least in the middle part of the slope. That's the hilltop. Here is a toe slope, more or less. The starting point for the thick humus-rich horizons is more or less some haplik Chernozems. However, here we mostly found only alluvic, which is more or less the next step of the transformation. So the transition zone to the BC or CK horizons, already in the lowermost part, we detect some clay elevation. So the topsoil is already a strongly truncated luvisol, which is really similar to the locations that was presented by Marcin. And eroded material that was feeding the middle part of the slope also enlightened a bit the molic or the black horizon here. Therefore, we have a Castanozem here, not the Chernik, but the molic. So it's also break the conceptual idea for a presence of the Castanozems in our region in general, right? And the lowermost parts, they always suffer from some stagnation of the rainwater. Yeah, the rolling hills in the south and central part of the Poland. So again, we are more or less started from the Celtic Chernozems here on the long and inclined slope that terminates with the waterlogged depressions. So here it's a quite clear the dynamic water table or active water table level, and the hills. Well, that's a quite common situation that was discussed before. Sergei asked about it. Yeah, the haplik calcisol. So the loess was all not always, but often was that strongly eroded that also exposed the older lithologies. And in some cases, this really results in this verification or evaluation of the Celtic horizon. In less inclined slopes, we found the Luvic Chernozems, and in the toe slope, we had a quite thick column material that meet the requirements for the pike. And forested hills in the agriculture used slopes. Here we have two sides, and these sides are a bit different. So in the two previous sites, we only have the agricultural lands. Here, the top is always forested. And two types of the Katinas and two types of the transformations that we detect. So Luvic Thiozem and haplik Chernozem in the mid of the Katina. In the upper part, Lubick Chernozems, quite new to the forested sites. The lowermost profiles, they are quite thick colluvium materials, and under the forest we had this nice typical albic luvisols. The dark humus horizons was destroyed under the forest was gone. So the PhD students of our team try to estimate the long and short-term erosion rates in the lost landscape. We didn't do it on the black soils. In fact, we focused on a luvisol dominated landscape. But what are the conclusions? Yeah, we choose two indicators of erosion. The one is tin beryllium, an in situ indicator that developed in the lattice of the quartz. So this long term means that we can go far to even more than 1 million years. So the rates didn't cross the boundary of 1 ton per hectare per year. Basically, the tolerable erosion rates for Europe, for the grasslands, for agricultural lands, is around 1 ton. So here we do not see a really strong imbalance. However, the short-term erosion rates that was calculated with the plutonium, it's in fact replaced recently the cesium 137, showed a large increase of the erosion. So we can go not more than 60 years back in the history of the sites with the plutonium. So it's quite strong and really show the acceleration of erosion in a recent decades, 6 decades. So what we found on a hilltop, we found a nice albic luvisols with the BT horizons, and because of a strong erosion and the further mixing and incorporation of the BT horizon into the A horizon, it was also showed by Martin, we have a strong reduce of the BT. So soon these soils will gone. And what is the output? The output is basically a regosol after that. So based on the calculation of erosion rates, we can say that in some extreme cases, on strongly eroded sites, we have only 80 years for preservation of the BT. Just like similar with the margin data, we found from the one rainy event to another, remove of the material of a thickness of around 6 to 10 centimeters of loss. So each time, right? So yeah, the data, there are some published, and the conclusions. So the main pathways. So the haptic Chernozems as a more or less typical soils for the loess belt may transform into castanozems when the topsoil is a bit enlightened and will not fulfill criteria for turnic. In the colluvial material, we mostly have a phaeozems with some water related features. The further or presence of clay illuviation led to the Lubick Chernozems formation and further truncation to the luvisols. Strong erosion will meet or will reach the point of the calcisols or the regosols. So what is important that the thickness of the loess mantle and how strongly it will be eroded. We still don't have a lot of precise data about the soil redistribution rates regarding the Chernozems and the phaeozems. And I think this is a missing puzzle that we should really found and fill. Regarding the new proposals of Chernik, but maybe the time is running out. I guess it is. there are nice two suggestions from the Peter. I think that when we consider also a plat layer, then we should rather reduce the amount of the castanozems and have more chernozems, maybe, or at least the chernik. And also the increase of the average of the aggregates will help to sustain the chernozems that were developed mostly from the more clay materials that will produce larger aggregates. That's something that I wanted to say, and that's the full team. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Many thanks. Your contribution was also a partial answer of Sergei's question about organic matter and its change in your landscapes. Now, we have a question more. Please. Sergei, again, come up.
Sorry for being so insistent, but these topics are so interesting, and this contribution of Yaroslav in particular is very important for the whole problematics of black soils in Europe. There are some research in Germany, Czechia, and so on. I will go directly to the specific problem which I would like to ask. Profiles with black horizon, most black at some depth, and lighter colors above. There could be two reasons for this. Degradation of earlier thick black horizon and loss of humus due to mineralization and development of these luvic properties, or covering with colluvial materials with less humus and lighter color. I think it has also implications for classification. In one case it will be, in the second case it will be colluvic, and in the first case, I don't know what it will be. What are criteria to distinguish one or another way of development of such horizon sequence?
Please use the mic.
Regarding the second case is more common. So we mostly have the covering of the lightened material of the topsoil. And if we really have this enlightened only on the topsoil, it might came from the plowing, of course, and the clay accumulation always appear in the subsoil, so in the second A horizon or the third A horizon, right? For me, the second case is more obvious for this situation. So how to distinguish them? How to distinguish them in the field? It's, of course, we have a lot of things related with the landforms, with the relief, right? Then it's easy when we are a bit lower in the landscapes, right? So then it's much more clearer. Yeah, sure. Yeah, but in the slope position, we of course can have some kind of a lateral flow that will increase this clay translocation. And of course, just like you see here, the Sluvic chernozems, they always appear on the slopes. Yeah, so that may be also